Hi, and welcome to the Holly C Podcast, a show about expressing your brilliance with ease and flow. I'll show you how to take the woo-woo out of the clouds and apply it to real life for effortless action. This show is for world changers and future world changers, so if you know there's more to life and you're wondering what's next, this is your show. Hi, I'm Holly, your host. I'm a speaker, author, teacher of health, wellness, vitality, and spirituality, and also a dragon spirit guide. Today's episode is about certainty, clarity of direction, impact, and trust. So if you're embarking in a new direction and you're following your soul's calling, but you're wondering if you're on the right track, this is the episode to listen to. In addition to teaching about Chinese reflexology and running this podcast, what you might not know is that I'm also teaching a course for entrepreneurs who are following their heart's calling. They're creating soul-based businesses. We meet once a month for a Q&A call, and we talk about business, entrepreneurship, and also the underlying fears and challenges that come up when you're on the entrepreneurial path, especially when you're on the path where you're following your soul's calling. Because this path is not like any other business that you've seen before. When you're following your soul's calling, the path is unique to you. So you may be wondering then, how do I know I'm on the right path? And that's the question students had in the most recent Q&A call. They were looking for certainty, clarity of direction, wanting to know that they're going to make an impact, and questioning whether they can trust they're heading in the right direction. So during the Q&A call, we entered the Dragon Spirit space. This is a place where you are most connected with your highest guidance. It's where you can quiet your mind and tune in for the wisdom and clarity of your heart and soul. And the insights we received during the Dragon Spirit meditation were amazing, and that's why I wanted to share them with you in this week's podcast episode. So if you're on the entrepreneurial path and wanting to create a heart-based business that really makes a difference in the world, and you're not entirely sure how you're going to do it, then I promise you'll be reassured when you listen to this Dragon Spirit meditation. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, but you are following your soul's calling and you want clarity, and you want certainty about the direction you're heading in, you'll also find this Dragon Spirit meditation very beneficial and very illuminating. So without further ado, here is the recording of the Dragon Spirit meditation. Let's begin with 3 dragon breaths. So you're going to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you breathe out, if you feel like letting out a sigh or sound, go ahead and do so. So let's begin. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. And again, in through your nose. And out. And again, in through your nose. And out. The word that's jumping out is the word certainty. This is at the heart of the questions about clarity of direction and trust. Breathe in through your nose and easy, normal, relaxed breath out. And if you feel like, resting your hand in your lap, go ahead and do so. Just whatever feels comfortable for you. Because at the heart of the quote-unquote problem is certainty. It is the mind's desire that it wants certainty. It craves certainty. It loves certainty. That's why it likes things like analytical problems like math, because 1 + 1 = 2. It's certain about this. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. That's why it likes consistency and schedules. It's like certain. It's like, okay, on this day, this is when this happens. On this day, I need to be here for X time. This certainty, this routine, the knowing, the mind's knowing, it gives comfort to the mind because Things are predictable. Things are set. The plans can be made. The structures can be created. And it's very simple. It's like, I want to get to the top of this short peak here, and I have laid out all the steps. There's like a staircase, and I even counted, I looked up online, I saw that there are 568 steps on the staircase, so I can count out every step. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. That will guarantee that I will get to the top of this peak. But what about things like weather? What if it's a rainy day? What if you have to take someone with you? What if your, sister's cousin's best friend, son's preschool teachers, great aunts, husband's daughter-in-law needs a hand with their 1-year-old child, and it turns out that you're the one looking after them on that day that you were planning to climb those steps. Are you going to climb with a 1-year-old? Doesn't that change things? You're going up high. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. Oh, what about the day you decide to go and they're doing repairs on the steps and it's closed? Oh. Or you're planning it all, in advance, and then a friend spontaneously visiting from out of the country invites you to lunch. You got to change your plans. But the mind still feels comforted because the steps are still there. I can always go back and climb that peak, even with all these other distractions. So there's not that much fear, even though a lot of things can change. But the mind has this set idea that this staircase exists that has this clear path to the top of the peak. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. Now, the staircase did not exist before. Somebody built the staircase. Seems obvious, right? So somebody before you decided they wanted to climb to the top of the peak. Maybe lots of people before you decided they wanted to climb to the top of the peak. And there were accidents and erosion on the hillside because people were, creating muddy ruts as they were trekking up, and it was affecting the hill. And finally, a bunch of people got together and said, what say we build a staircase so that people can get up? And so they get together, they construct it, and then that's the way up. And then that is how everybody has to climb. They're not allowed to climb up the other side of the hill because that's a protected area. They're not allowed to step off the staircase. They're not allowed to stop on the middle of the staircase and admire the view halfway because there's a whole bunch of people coming from below. It's like, this is the way you get up. So you see how in some ways the staircase has been beneficial. It lets a lot of people climb up to the top. But in other ways, the staircase is detrimental. It has limited the experience of going up to the top of the peak. So in our society, there are many ways to grow a successful business, become financially abundant, but it is through staircases that have already been built on certain peaks. So forget about climbing this one hill. What if there's one just a little further down that has not yet even been explored? There's no staircase on it, and hardly anyone has climbed it before. And only you really want to go on that one. Because there's other people going, oh, there's too many bushes with thorns and burrs at the bottom. I don't want to bother. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. But you have a knowing, you know what? I think those bushes are just at the very bottom and there's only a few feet of them. If I can kind of find a way to eke my way through there, there's got to be a path. The whole hillside can't be surrounded by these. If I can find a way to sneak past these bushes, I could get to the top. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. Well, this is when you start to hear other people who start telling you why you should not climb that hill. They start to say, oh, there's too many of these bushes and there's no way you're going to find a way through it. There's no staircase. You're not allowed to climb it. Not that anybody had actually explicitly said that you're not allowed to climb it, but just the people who got used to climbing up the stairs on the one hill think that this is the way it has to be. You have to do it this way. But what if you found a way to the top and you came up with a more efficient way to get to the top? What if people could paraglide in, because the surface on the hillside was really flat? Or what if you could build a funicular and people could ride up that side of the hill and then they could enjoy the entire view all the way up in a glass funicular? And it would also provide opportunity for people who are not able to climb up the steps. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. And by creating a funicular, you charge a small admission, and then it creates amazing financial abundance for you. And you take that money and you preserve and protect the entire area where these hills are, so that there is no risk of overdevelopment or over tourism. You've created a foundation. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. All of this would not be possible if you did not look for a way to sneak through the bushes, eke your way past the burrs and the sharp thorns. Now, the reason why certainty was chosen as the key word is because, from your perspective as a human being, from what you can see, there is no certainty. It is impossible for you to have 100% certainty, because you are excluding the other side of the coin, because there's certainty and there's unknown. You can't have 100% certainty, because that would mean there is no unknown. It's impossible, because the universe is not all one thing excluding all the other thing. You cannot have all light without having darkness. You need the light and the darkness. In order to understand light, there must be darkness. In order to understand certainty, there must be the unknown. It has to exist. So now your mind is adjusting, going, well, can we have a little more certainty? Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. It's like, okay, I don't need 100% certainty, but what about 99.9%? Is that good enough? Can we have 0.1% certainty? Or 0.1% unknown and 99.9% certainty. Pardon me, I misspoke earlier. The mind doesn't want only 0.1% certainty. The mind wants 0.1% unknown and the rest certainty. We're going to tell your mind something it's not going to like to hear. So take a breath, deep breath in, breathe out. From your perspective in a physical form, the certainty that you're going to get is more like 0.1% certainty. That means 99.9% is unknown. Mind does not like that. But it does not mean that you're in this crazy wild west of all sorts of things not happening, or not, going all crazy haywire. That's not what this means. It just means, from your perspective, this is all that you can see. What if we told you, from the perspective of the universe, there is 100% certainty? What we just said, you cannot have all certainty without having unknown. What if we told you that 100% certainty exists simultaneously with 100% unknown? Breathe in through your nose and breathe out.
But your idea of time is that you want the whole forward future to be 100% certainty. And what if we told you that is possible, but it goes hand in hand with 100% unknown? You see how the mind has challenges to understand this, which is why all you can see from this perspective, and we don't mean this in a way to belittle you or say that, you're not good enough to see more. It's just this is the incarnation in the physical realm that you can see 0.1%. And that is actually huge. In fact, because you do not understand the vastness of the universe, it's just not possible to see how infinite it is. Like 0.1% of infinity is a pretty large number. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. And the truth is that most people are not even operating at 0.1% certainty. They're more like 0.00001% certainty, with a bunch of illusion of the mind, thinking that they have 100% certainty. And by doing so, they actually fight against the unknown, push away the unknown, spend a lot of energy battling the unknown, being fearful of the unknown. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. When you have more certainty, you can then start to realize you do not need to fear the unknown. The unknown always comes along with a certainty. What if instead of going, this is black, this is white, what if it's gray? Can I move forward even if it's gray? When you ask your heart and soul, can you move forward even when things are gray? Absolutely. It's just the mind that's like, I want it to be black. I want it to be white. I want it to be this way. I want to have this certainty. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. And I'm just checking, something else popped up in the chat. All right, impact, clarity of direction, and trust. Let's talk about those things now. Let's talk about clarity of direction. It's the same as certainty, wanting to know that these are the steps up. When you look at your path going on an unknown, unexplored hill, there's one thing you need to know. You need to know you want to go to the top. That's it. That you can know with certainty. How you're going to get up there when it's completely uncharted is unknown. But what you do know is that if you move one foot in front of the other and you want to get to the top, you will get to the top eventually. Now, are there more efficient ways to get up to the top? Yes, but how will you know until you start walking up the hill? So what you are doing with your business, there is no staircase mapped up to a hill. That's why formulas are uncomfortable, because it's somebody else saying, follow this staircase up to the top of the peak. But when you have flexibility and recognize that my path is uncharted, but that doesn't mean I throw out the baby with the bathwater. And let me take a look at the staircase. I'm going to go walk it, and I'm going to learn by taking a look at it. So it doesn't mean you need to go all the way up to the peak, or that this is going to take you up to the peak that you want to go to, but you see how they built the staircase. You see how, because it's not just built on one lone individual. It was a group of people who came together to come up with this quote-unquote formula, because each person builds upon what they learn from the people that they encounter in their lives. So a lot of thought actually went into this staircase. There's a lot of thought on where to position it. It wasn't positioned on the south side of the hill because the sun beats down mercilessly on that side, and people would be basically sweating so much, making the handrail all sweaty. So the staircase was positioned on the cooler side of the hill, the side that gets a little more shade but still pleasant to walk up. They mapped out, paid attention to the curves of the hill. They knew where the animals that lived on the hill tended to live and be in that habitat. So they made sure to avoid those areas and not disturb the animals. So see, there's a lot of you can learn. But when you have the mindset that I don't want to follow this person's staircase, then you cannot learn from that and apply it to charting your own path. So clarity of direction, let's go back to that. It's about knowing you want to go to the top. Certainty is about knowing you want to go to the top. Trust is about trusting that you're going to make it to the top. And impact is what you're going to see. You're going to have this perspective. When you're on that hill, when you start climbing up that hill, you are raising your perspective. And then you are raising your potential for impact because you can see more. When you're at the bottom of the hill, what impact can you make when you're just looking at the bushes with the thorns and the burrs in them? Well, when you get past that, there's only a few feet of it, and you just walked around the mountain, and maybe it seemed like you weren't doing anything, but you were walking around the mountain, and in walking around the mountain, then you discover an open area to walk through. You don't even have to squeeze your way through. There's a whole area where you can just walk right through and go past all those burry bushes and thorns and not get pricked at all. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. So as you start to make your way up the hill, you start to see how you can have impact. But you can't see that right now until you start walking one foot in front of the other. That's certainty too. You know you can take one step in front of the other. You know your body mechanics. You know how to walk up a hill. That you are certain of. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. So same with your business. While you may not know the exact steps that you are going to take up the hill, you know you have the ability to climb up the hill. And even climb is too strong a word. Climb makes it sound arduous. You could float up the hill. You could even not even walk up the hill. There are so many ways to get to the top. Hot air balloon. Find a helicopter to take you directly up. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. And see, when the mind can loosen its grip on needing certainty, then it expands to possibility and imagination. And that's when you can see other ways to get up to the top. And maybe after having that expansion, the mind may conclude, you know what, building a staircase is actually a good idea. I'm going to do that after all. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. But do you feel how the energy is different now than before, when it was like, oh, I am going to, this is the way up the staircase, or I'm going to resist the staircase, versus, okay, I'm just going to relax a bit. I'm going to know with certainty and trust that I am able to get to the top. I know with certainty that that is where I want to go. That's my clarity of direction. And then I know that I'm going to make an impact, but the impact will grow as I continue going up the hill, because then my perspective expands. I can see further. I can see more of the land. And of course, then I can make a greater impact, because you can't impact on these things that you don't even know exist yet. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. As you climb up the hill, will you also not feel more trust and certainty in your own abilities? You will. But all you got to do is keep making those steps. And recognize that the need for certainty is just one of those things that the mind likes. And you catch yourself and you go, haha, mind, okay, got it. But let's keep stepping forward, because we're going to have more certainty after we've climbed up the hill. And just one more thing to say before we exit the Dragon Spirit space. You may not always find the most optimum path, but you will not learn what the optimum path is without taking side detours. Because how would you know, like on that first try up the hill, that was the best way, unless you knew that there were some other ways that were not the best way? But you can still learn from each of these experiences. So do not be so hard on yourself in that, getting it optimized right away. This is about building your hiking skills and growing your perspective. And just one more thing in the chat, we're just going to check that out. Student writes, it seems like getting started equals constructing a temporary staircase that is weight-bearing, but seen as just that, malleable, temporary, meant to be even completely altered as data and insight arrive. I have been researching the perfect staircase. Partially. It's about even getting out of the idea, and I know that temporary staircase is in quotes. So as long as temporary staircase can encompass hot air balloons, then yes. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. Because, there is no perfect staircase. Understand it is about the journey where you learn the most and develop the ability to go up the hill. So if it was perfect, if that staircase was already built on your unexplored hill, what would you gain from that? You would only know how to go up the hill on the staircase. You wouldn't have explored and found a clearing to get past the bushes with the thorns. You wouldn't have found creative and more fun ways to get to the top, like we wouldn't have found like the helicopter was the fastest way, and that when you were in the helicopter you could see even more. There's so much potential, and all of it is the right way, because you want to go to the top of the peak. And on that note, we will exit the Dragon Spirit space for now. And we'll do that with 3 dragon breaths. And know that the space is always there, available for you. So let's begin. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. And again, in through your nose. And breathe out. And once more, in through your nose. And breathe out.
And welcome back to our podcast episode. I hope you found that Dragon Spirit meditation as powerful as I did. So know that whatever your path is, however you're going about it, that's the right path for you. All that you need to know for certain is that you want to go to the top of the peak. It's uncharted. It's for you to create the path. You can learn from those who walked before you, or you can come up with your very own way to get to the top. So I hope you move forward with certainty and clarity of direction. Trust in yourself. You are going to make an impact on this world. And on that note, I thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. You can find every episode on my website at www www.hollyc.com. And before you head out, may I suggest you pick a number between 1 and 61. Go ahead, pick a number right now. Whatever that number is, that is the universe saying, go listen to that podcast episode. That episode is going to be especially meaningful for you. And while you're on my website, you might want to sign up for the Dragon Spirit Weekly Wisdom newsletter. I send it out every Monday morning, and before I send it out, I tune into the universe for any special messages to share to guide you for the week. And this guidance from the universe will be delivered right to your inbox. I look forward to reconnecting with you again soon. Bye for now.